Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the story about Naruto. What if Naruto trained by Anko? Movie 8. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please do support for more awesome content and also hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends. And also support the creator of this fanfic. I have created a playlist where you can find out all the previous parts of this video, link in the description, and check out the other video as well. So let's start the video. A pervert for a teacher? When Naruto made his way back up to the balcony, he found that the rest of the Konoha genin were strangely quiet. He had at least expected to be cheered on, but apparently he believed wrong. But when he came up to them, he saw them staring at him with their mouths wide open, and he could see the shock on their faces. Anko was the first to go up to him, and he hugged him, congratulating him on a great fight and victory. Then one by one the others got over their shock and started to congratulate him as well. Naruto told them that it was a very good match and that his opponent was strong, but they could see that he didn't really mean it. They could tell that he was able to beat him without too much trouble and that he had held back. Anko bonked him on the head, saying that he didn't show that jutsu to her before and he deserved to be punished. Naruto tried to tell her that he was entitled to some secrets, but she wouldn't hear it. She thought that, as his sensei, she had viewing privileges before everybody else, and so she wanted to see jutsu beforehand. Everybody laughed when they saw Naruto's face taking on a look of pure disbelief that his sensei would want such a thing. Teammate and Kurenai smiled at seeing the two of them fool around like that, knowing that they were just teasing each other. Ino and Sakura, however, were very curious about Naruto's new abilities, so they decided to ask some questions. Ino had recovered from her fight with Sasuke just in time to see Naruto fight, and she was shocked at seeing the so-called death last year fighting so well. Sakura too was shocked. She always considered Naruto as weak and untalented, but seeing his fight she now knew that he actually quite the opposite. Naruto, how did you get so strong, and did you really make that jutsu? Both of them asked Naruto. Well, I got strong by training and practicing with Anko sensei ever since I graduated from the academy. We spent 6 months training, and after that we joined Team 8. We trained a lot and we got stronger together. As for the jutsu, yes, I made it myself last month. This was actually the first time I used it in a fight. It took me some time before I got it just right though. Naruto said. But isn't making a jutsu really complicated? I mean, how did you learn to make jutsus? Surely somebody must have taught it to you? Ino said, with Sakura nodding her head in agreement. Naruto learned how to make jutsu on his own time. I brought him some books from the library, and after that he started to experiment. You saw the result a few minutes ago. Anko said proudly. She was very proud of Naruto, and it showed on her beautiful face. Naruto nodded, showing the truth of what Anko said. Kakashi was listening to the conversation and wondered who would win if Sasuke and Naruto were to fight each other. While Sasuke had the Sharingan and was without a doubt very strong for a genin, he had to admit that he believed Sasuke to lose against Naruto. Not because he was stronger or something like that, but because Naruto was unpredictable in a fight. He had seen how Naruto acted and knew that this was far from being the best he could do. Naruto understood better than Sasuke that a shinobi fight wasn't about flashy moves or jutsu, it was about skill and determination. And the fact that he could make his own jutsu was amazing to him. He wondered if Naruto would teach him Kaiten jutsu. He wouldn't ask if he could copy it because it was a personal jutsu and that needed to be respected in his eyes. Copying other jutsu that already existed long ago wasn't a problem to him since the original maker had long deceased or it was already widely known. Shikamaru had been quiet, but he too had a question. He wondered how Naruto had succeeded in cutting his enemy while he was out of range. When he voiced his question, it was Asuma who answered it. That's because Naruto's chakra element is wind. Am I right? Asuma said. Naruto was surprised that Asuma found this out so easily and simply nodded. Don't worry, Naruto, I only found out because I'm a wind element myself. I must say, you have excellent control for someone your age. It took me a long time before being able to do something like that. Makes me wonder what else you're capable of. Asuma said while lighting another cigarette. Asuma then proceeded to tell the other genin about the chakra elements and that wind was the best element for offensive attacks. Especially long-range attacks were mostly wind-based attacks. He told them normally people from Konoha mostly had fire as their element, but that something other elements were found as well. But wind was a rare element to appear in Konoha. He said that he didn't know anyone else but Naruto and himself that had wind as their element. He also explained that even when your element was, for example, fire, that didn't mean that you couldn't use other element jutsu, but only that Kaiten jutsu would be easier to master than others. While the genin had been talking about chakra elements and still recovering from their shock, Neji had brutally defeated Sakura's other teammate. Neji wasted no time with the poor guy and attacked him straight from the beginning, and seeing his opponent was still injured from the fights in the forest, it didn't take long to win. The rest of the fights went really fast, and the only real exciting one was between Lee and Gaara, which the Sand Shinobi won, but Naruto was in awe of Lee's Taijutsu. He had no doubt in his mind that Lee was his superior in Taijutsu. He would have to spar him sometime if and when Lee had recovered from his injuries. The match had been very hard on the Konoha Shinobi, and he had taken some very serious injuries. Naruto hoped that he would be alright. Though the guy was loud and his green clothes were an eyesore, he kind of liked the Taijutsu using Shinobi. Shikamaru had won his fight against a sound nin called Kin by using his intellect and his family jutsu. He had managed to capture her shadow and made her hit her head against a wall so hard she passed out. Before, he would have found it troublesome to fight in the finals, but ever since he talked to Naruto, he had decided to become strong so he too could protect his future family. Kankuro, the third Sand Shinobi, had won his fight by using his puppet to strangle his opponent. Naruto thought using dolls in a fight seemed kind of gay, but hey, in the end it worked. To each his own, he guessed. Nonetheless, Kankuro seemed to be very talented with his fighting style, so Naruto wouldn't underestimate him. Chaoji unfortunately had to fight the remaining sound nin, who showed no mercy to him. When Chaoji used his family jutsu thinking he would be safe from the sound attacks, Dosu proved him wrong and won the match without hurting Chaoji too much. Kiba, however, got a free pass to the finals since he was the only one left. He was kind of pissed off because of that, since he didn't get to fight or show his strengths. But Kurenai told him that he was the one with the big advantage since nobody had seen him fight or seen his fighting style. After that, he cheered up a little knowing his sensei was right. Still, he found it a bit unfair towards the others who had to fight for their place in the finals, but he knew that anyone could have been the one to get the free pass. The 11 remaining genin were now standing in front of Hayate, who started to explain what the finals would be like. Congratulations to those of you who reached the finals. We will now move on to the selection of the main matches in the finals. Each one of you will be drawing a number, and those numbers will indicate who you will fight. So I will come to you, and then you can draw a piece of paper from the box. Hayate said. When Hayate stopped in front of him, Naruto eagerly put his hand inside the box and pulled out a piece of paper with the number 6. So he would be in the third fight, which sounded good to him. He definitely didn't want to go first. Alright, this is the matchup for the finals, Hayate said, pointing toward a board. Everybody looked over to the board, curious to find out who they would be fighting. Match 1. Hyuga Hinata vs Hyuga Neji. Match 2. Uchiha Sasuke vs Sabaku no Kankuro. Match 3. Sabaku no Gaara vs Uzumaki Naruto. Match 4. Nara Shikamaru vs Sabaku no Tamari. Match 5. Inuzuka Kiba vs Aburam Shino. Special match, Dosu vs Winner Fight 5. Naruto looked at the board, not believing his bad luck that he would have to fight Gaara of all people. He already had a bad feeling about the boy, and after seeing how he defeated Lee, he wondered if he would be able to win. Forget winning, he thought, he wondered if he would survive. The fight with Lee had proven to Naruto that Gaara had no problems with causing serious injuries or even death. This would take some serious planning and preparation, he realized. Hinata too was cursing her luck when she saw who her opponent was. She knew the possibility of having to fight Neji was big, but fighting him right from the start was just bad luck. She knew how much Neji despised her and that he wouldn't hold back, not that she wanted him to, for her, but would he be able to forget those feelings of hate during the match? She was worried he would take it too far, just to vent his anger and hate. But she wouldn't give up, no way would she give him the satisfaction of seeing her retreat. She was going to fight him with everything she got, and she would show him and her father that she wasn't weak at all. It would also be a very good test for her Taijutsu style that she made. Fighting another Hyuga would show her how effective her style was, so she was a little excited as well. Shino and Kiba looked at the board and then to each other. When they caught the other's eyes, they started grinning. Though they're teammates and friends, there was a healthy rivalry going on between the two of them. They hadn't really fought each other except during training, but those were only spars, so that didn't count. Both of them knew this would be a very good match and that they wouldn't hold any grudges over the other. They planned to fight with everything they got, since both of them respected the other too much not to give it their all. Alright, now I will give back the word to Sandaime Hokage-sama, who will give you your instructions for the finals. Hayate said. Thank you, Hayate-san. The finals will be held in the battle stadium 1 month from now. There are several reasons why it will take a month to begin. First of all of you are tired and/or wounded, so you need time to rest and heal. Also, now that you know your opponent will be, you can prepare for the fight. You have seen your opponent fight, so you should be able to come up with a plan. The last reason is that we need time to invite the guest, and they need to have the time to get here. I wish you all the luck you need, and we will see each other in the battle stadium in 1 month. You are all dismissed. Sandaime said. The genins all made it back up the balcony, where their senseis were waiting, so they could guide them back to the village in safety. Naruto and Team 8 went over to Anko and Kurenai after saying their goodbyes to the rest, promising them to meet later when they had some time off from training. The 6 of them then made it back to the village, each of them more exhausted than the other. When they arrived at the village, it was already getting late, so they wished each other goodnight, agreeing to discuss the finals the next day after getting some rest. Well done, Naruto-kun. You and the team did an excellent job, Kurenai, and I am so proud of you guys. Anko said when they arrived at her apartment. She walked up to him and grabbed him in a big hug before she kissed him. She had missed kissing him for 5 whole days, and they had some catching up to do. Thanks, Anko-chan, it's all thanks to your training that I've got this strong. Without your help I wouldn't have gotten this far. Naruto said after breaking the kiss, but still holding her close to him. You're very welcome, Naruto-kun. Besides, it will show great on my resume that I trained the greatest Hokage in the history of Konoha. She said, winking at him. I hope that one day there will be written wife of the greatest Hokage on your resume as well. Naruto said, and he kissed her lovingly. I would like that as well, Naruto-kun. Anko said after she managed to catch her breath. For now, girlfriend will have to do though. But it's a start, right? Naruto yawned a little, showing how tired he was. That's fine with me. Now why don't we take a bath and then we can go to bed? The last few days have been stressful and tiring for both of us. Anko suggested. Naruto happily agreed, and they went to the bathroom longing for some relaxation and quiet time together. After they spent some time enjoying the hot bath, they went to sleep, holding each other close and falling asleep as soon as they closed their eyes. The next day they met up with Kurenai and Team 8 for lunch at Ichiraku's. Naruto had been allowed to choose what they would have for lunch, so of course he chose ramen. After spending an enjoyable lunch, they went over the training grounds and sat down so they could discuss the events from the past week. Kurenai and Anko wanted to do this so that the 4 of them would be able to think about mistakes, if they made any, or if there were things that they would do differently. This was important because it made them create new possibilities that might be handy someday. Alright, first Anko, and I would like to say how proud we are of the 4 of you. Without a doubt you guys were one of the strongest teams out there, and trust me when I say that several people were very impressed with the 4 of you. Kurenai said with a big and proud smile. That's right. Asuma, Kakashi, and even the Hokage have told us how surprised they were of the progress you've made in this past year. You have made us very proud of being your senseis. Now that being said, we want to hear your opinion on how you performed. So let's hear it. Anko said, equally proud. Well, I believe we handled both tests very well. The first test was sort of individual, but each of us trusted the other not to give up, so in the end we did fine. For the second test, we actually made the right decision by concluding that the Mist team would target us because of Zabuza, so we were prepared for them. Also, when we attacked the Kumo team, we did it as efficiently and flawlessly as possible, so my conclusion is that we took the best way possible for us. Shino said calmly, like he had expected the question. Shino's right. We worked well together the whole time. Naruto with his Kage Bunshin scouting for us and backing us up, Hinata with her Byakugan checking the environment, Shino guarding the rear, and Akamaru and I in front was an excellent formation that worked perfectly. It proved to be very useful and efficient. Kiba added his thoughts as well. We also made the right decision by going to the tower as soon as possible, since we believed the third test to be individual fighting. We knew that if we stayed in the forest too long we could have been defeated or injured, and that would have jeopardized our chances to get into the third test. Hinata said. Looking back now, I too believe we made the right decisions at the right time. We thought about everything and acted accordingly. The planning we made before the exam was very useful and saved us a lot of time and trouble once the exam started," Naruto said, finishing the 4 genin explanations. Kurenai and Anko agreed that the 4 of them had shown an excellent example of teamwork, preparation, and had come up with a good plan which gave them the best chances to succeed in the mission. They told them that a Chunin would need those qualities and that they had shown everyone that they were ready to pass on to the next level. Next, they asked the team their thoughts on the finals and their opponents. "My match with Gaara will be the ultimate test to see how strong I have become in the past year. It will take everything I have to defeat Gaara, of that I'm sure. He's strong, intelligent, and that sand of his will be a major problem. I don't have the speed Lee has, so I'll need something else to get through his defenses. Then there's the fact that his sand is both offensive and defensive, so I'll need to be extra careful not to get hit while I'm attacking. I have been thinking about how to fight him, but I haven't come up with much yet, but one thing is sure, I need to get faster and stronger if I want to have a chance," Naruto said. "We'll focus on speed training and strength training, but honestly with only a month there won't be very much we can do. Speed and strength training takes time, and the results only show after lots of work," Anko said, looking a little worried. "I know, but we don't have a choice. Anyway, I have a few jutsu in mind that might be effective against him, but they will need some modifications. I won't go down without a fight. Even if I lose, he won't escape that easily." Naruto is convinced that he could at least give Gaara a hard time. "Very well, Naruto, we know that if anyone has a chance of defeating him, it's you. How about you, Hinata? Any idea how to defeat Neji?" Kurenai asked. "Honestly, I had hoped to evade Neji as long as possible, but that's impossible now. I will concentrate on further developing my taijutsu and making my body as flexible as possible. Also, like Naruto, I need some speed training since I know Neji is faster than me. Chances that I win the fight are slim, but I'll show him and my dad how strong I have become. Win or lose, I'll show them that the Jaiken isn't the only way for a Hyuga to fight," Hinata said with sheer determination. "Well," said Hinata. "There's no doubt in my mind that Neji will have a much harder time than he predicted. You'll have the element of surprise, and it will be important to take advantage of that. If you can surprise him, he will be troubled, and that will be your cue to attack. I suggest you practice both your style and the Jaiken this month. I will spar with you as much as I can, that way you will be somewhat used to high-speed attacks," Kurenai said, encouraging her students. "How about the 2 of you? Any ideas?" Anko asked Kiba and Shino. "Shino and I have decided to train with our families the whole month. The reason is that, since we were teammates, we know each other's techniques already, but in this month we could learn some new techniques from our clan. That would give us a chance to surprise the other, and it might make the match very exciting," Kiba said for both of them. "Good idea. If you train together now, you'll know what your opponent will use during the match. Very well, everyone, since we have only 1 month we'll have to work hard and long, but we'll become stronger shinobi. Now Anko will mainly focus on Naruto's training, and since Shino and Kiba will train with their clan, I will focus on Hinata, but this doesn't mean that you can't come to us if you have questions. We'll meet again here in 2 weeks to spend some time together," Kurenai said, getting up. She and Anko had a meeting with the Hokage in a half hour, so they needed to get going. "I have to go now, Naruto-kun. We have a meeting with Hokage Sama about what happened in the forest. I'll see you tonight, okay? I love you," Anko whispered in Naruto's ear. "Okay, Anko-chan, see you tonight. I love you too," Naruto whispered back. Naruto said his goodbyes to his friends, and they promised to train hard and meet here in 2 weeks' time to have some fun. Naruto was now walking around the village while thinking about his future fight with Gaara. He wandered around the village until he passed the hot spring, where he saw a figure peeking into the women's bath. Naruto quietly got closer, trying to confront the pervert, since he knew Anko and Kurenai liked to spend some time in the hot spring, as well as many kunoichi. He thought about a minute searching to find the best way to engage this peeping Tom, and then a small but slightly evil smile crept onto his face. Anko had told him about a forbidden technique that was the ultimate punishment for any male pervert. He made his way over towards the man, who he was too busy giggling and ogling at the women to notice the danger that slowly but surely got closer. Naruto now stood behind the pervert and crouched and put his hands together with both his index fingers pointed outwards. In one fast move he plunged his fingers into the man's behind while yelling out Konoha to Jutsu Haiden, Senin Garashi. The next moment he saw how the man just shot up into the air, over the fence right into the women's bath. Naruto blinked and winced when he heard the screams and pleas for mercy and forgiveness from the man. He didn't feel any remorse, though the man had deserved any bit of pain those women could inflict on him. Just then a bloody and beaten man was projected over the fence into the bushes. Naruto went over to check if the man had survived or if he would have to bring him to the hospital. "Are you still alive? Need some help?" Naruto said while poking the man in the ribs with his foot. "Hahaha, this is nothing to the greatest of all men," the man with the long white hair said while getting up. Naruto was surprised since all the man's previous wounds seemed to have disappeared. "The greatest of men, and you need to spy on women? You're just a pervert, nothing more, if you ask me," Naruto said, doubting the man. "I'm not a pervert. I'm a super pervert," the man said. "Right. That's even worse than before. Being a pervert is nothing to be proud of, you know," Naruto said, not believing someone would be proud to be a pervert. "You stupid Gaki. Being a pervert is a way of life. To appreciate the beauty of women, to enjoy the pleasures of the flesh, is the only way a man should live, but then again I guess a Gaki like yourself wouldn't be able to understand those things," the man answered, starting to piss Naruto off. "I'm not a Gaki, you pervert. I'm a proud shinobi of the leaf, and the future Hokage, as well," Naruto said, not believing this man could piss him off enough to start yelling like he used to do. "Future Hokage, huh? Tell me, kid, where did you learn that horrible technique that you used on me? I can't believe that it still exists," the man said while becoming a little more interested in the young shinobi in front of him. "My sensei told me it is the ultimate jutsu against perverts like you. She also said that every kunoichi in Konoha knows how to use it," Naruto said. "Damn that Tsunade and her evil technique. I should have known that she would teach it to others," he said while grinding his teeth. "Tsunade? You know one of the legendary Sannin? I find that hard to believe," Naruto said. "Of course I know Tsunade and the legendary Sannin. I'm one of them. I'm the Toad Sannin Jiraiya," the man said, introducing himself while doing a little dance. "You're that Jiraiya? The Jiraiya that taught my dad?" Naruto said, now getting more and more excited at meeting the pervert. He couldn't believe his luck. This was the man that taught his father when he was a genin. Maybe the man would help him train as well. "Your dad? Tell me, Gaki, what is your name?" Jiraiya said, already had a good idea who this kid was. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto, son of Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina," Naruto said proudly. Every time he spoke of his parents he felt very proud of them. "I see. Now that you mention that, you do look a lot like your parents. They were some of the greatest people I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. You can be proud of them," Jiraiya said, looking at Naruto. "So you did teach my dad when he was just a genin. He mentioned your name in his book on seals and wrote that you taught him a lot about them," Naruto asked impatiently. "Yeah, Gaki, your dad was my best student. He was talented like no other shinobi I have ever met in my life. He was without a doubt one of those shinobi you only see once in a lifetime," Jiraiya said while remembering those times. He looked at Naruto and was kind of surprised how strong and mature the kid actually looked. He wondered how much of Minato's genius the kid had inherited. Judging by his first impressions, he had to conclude that the kid actually looked very talented. He decided to stick around a bit and talk to the son of his prized disciple. "So tell me, Gaki, how did you know about your parents? I doubt Sarutobi-sensei told you about them," Jiraiya asked. Naruto then told Jiraiya about how he had gotten a scroll from his dad which explained everything about him and his mother, the Kyuubi, and their final mission for him. He also told how his dad had included the notes for his jutsus and that he had managed to master one of them already. He didn't tell which one though, he figured that if the man wanted to know he would ask him. Jiraiya listened to Naruto's explanation, but when he heard Naruto saying that he had mastered one of his dad's jutsu he seemed to be a bit skeptical. Those jutsu were air anchor higher, there was no way a young shinobi could master those moves. Still he decided to ask for proof. "You never know, right? Really? You mastered one of his moves? Care to show me what jutsu you have learned?" Jiraiya said, doubting he would see something remotely like Minato's jutsu. "Guess you don't believe me, huh? No matter, I'll show you Iro Sennin," Naruto said, smirking. He would enjoy this, he thought. The look on the man's face will be worth the trouble. He then held out his hand and started concentrating, and not a second later a perfect Rasengan formed in his hand. Jiraiya, who was expecting anything but a perfect Rasengan, just stood there shocked that the young boy performed a technique like the Rasengan at such a young age. Not only did it look perfect in execution, it also looked strong enough to compete with his own version. This boy was anything short of amazing, he realized. You mastered the Rasengan. How long did it take for you to master it? Jiraiya asked Naruto with his eyes wide from shock. Well, the actual learning took me months, but I have trained for months on chakra control, and thus it was easier to accomplish. Also, the notes dad left me helped me a lot too. When I could do it to a certain level, my Jounin sensei allowed me to use Kage Bunshin to master it. Naruto said. A month. It took Minato 3 years to develop and master it. And I had to spend several months mastering it. Jiraiya thought to himself. The Rasengan was an air rank jutsu that would be impossible for most people to learn, and this kid did it in 1 month. Kid, I can honestly say that this was far more than anything I had ever expected. Jiraiya said, praising Naruto. Don't tell Sandaime Jai-chan though. He doesn't know that I mastered it. I'll show him during the finals of the Chunin exam. Naruto asked Jiraiya. Not to worry kid, I won't tell you anything. So what else did you learn? Jiraiya said to Naruto. Well, I started on the Hiraishin and made some excellent progress on developing the necessary seals, but I'll still need time to form the correct order to put them in. Naruto said. Yeah, your dad had a very hard time doing those things as well. Don't worry, you'll get it eventually. So you're competing in the Chunin exam? What's your opponent like? Jiraiya said, actually getting excited by Naruto's abilities. Naruto then told him about who he had to fight and just how strong Gaara really was. He told Jiraiya about how Gaara had beaten Lee very badly by using his sand and how he was a little worried since he didn't know how to fight him. He told him about how Gaara's sand was both offensive and defensive, so that he would have to find a way to defeat it. So, you were wandering around trying to come up with a plan to defeat this Gaara? Jiraiya asked. Yeah, but so far I haven't really thought of something. It's really frustrating, you know, Naruto sighed. He had been thinking for some time now on how to beat Gaara, but no ideas formed in his head. It was like his mind and brain refused to help him. It started to piss him off too. How about I teach you something? I owe it to your dad to help you out a little. Besides, if I help you, I can say that I helped train 2 Hokages. Imagine how the ladies would react hearing that. Jiraiya said with a small perverted smile on his face. Really? Can you help me? Thanks Hiro-sennin, this will be great. Naruto exclaimed. This would help him a lot, he realized. Pervert or not, the guy was one of the legendary Sannin, so he was bound to know some really good jutsu or something that could help him become stronger. Hiro-sennin? The hell Gaki? What did I do to deserve such a name? Jiraiya yelled. You're a pervert and the Toad Sennin, so together that becomes Hiro-sennin. Now what will you teach me? Naruto said, trying to find out what he was learning. Fine, come with me. Jiraiya said to Naruto while muttering something about brats who didn't respect their elders. He led Naruto to a large open space away from the village. He figured he could teach the kid how to summon toads, as he was the carrier for the contract. Naruto followed, still wondering what he was going to learn. Jiraiya took him to a large clearing just outside the village, where they had plenty of space to practice away from the prying eyes of the villagers and fellow shinobi. Tell me Gaki, what do you know about summoning? Jiraiya asked. Summoning? Well, I know that you, Tsunade, and Snake Face each have a different summon. You have toads, Tsunade has slugs, and Snake Face has snakes. I also know from Jichin that he has the ape summon, and that Anko has the snake contract as well. Naruto finished. That's right Gaki, now your dad has the toad summon as well. Did you know that? Jiraiya said while raising an eyebrow at Naruto's nickname for Orochimaru. Yeah, I knew that. Naruto said. Who didn't know about his dad and Gamabunta? It was like common knowledge for all Konoha shinobi. They had special history lessons about the fourth after all. It was also one of the only lessons where Naruto truly paid attention since Yondaime had been his hero for years. Would you like a chance to have the same contract as your dad? Jiraiya asked, already knowing the answer. He recognized a lot of Minato's behavior in Naruto. It was like a trip to the past for him. It made him somewhat happy and sad at the same time. Are you kidding me, Hiro-sennin? What do you think? Of course I would like that. Naruto said while getting excited at the thought of being able to summon toads. Never had he thought of one day having such an opportunity. Only an idiot would refuse such an honor, and Naruto wasn't an idiot. Jiraiya smiled and told Naruto to back up a little, which he promptly did. Seeing Naruto had taken some distance, Jiraiya bit his thumb, drawing some blood, and started the necessary hand seals, and then slammed his hand into the ground yelling out Kuchiyus no Jutsu. Naruto watched as a large cloud of smoke filled the area, waiting patiently for the smoke to disappear. When he finally was able to see what Jiraiya had summoned, he grinned, already imagining the kind of things he would be able to do. Jiraiya had summoned a large toad, easily twice the size of Naruto, and stood on his back looking down at Naruto, knowing he had impressed the kid. This was the kind of reaction he had hoped for. Hopefully now the kid would stop calling him Iro Sennin. Really, kids these days have no respect for their elders, he thought. What do you say now, Gaki? Admit you're impressed, right? Jiraiya said. I'm impressed, but you're still Iro Sennin to me, Iro Sennin. Naruto said, trying to annoy Jiraiya. In truth, though, he was very impressed by summoning. Sure, he had seen Anko summon some of her snakes before, but this was different. Toads were impressive, and this one seemed to be strong enough to kick his ass. Damn it, Gaki, show me some respect, will you? Jiraiya said while tears ran from his eyes. Respect is earned, not given, but fine, I'm very impressed, okay? Naruto said. Fair enough, Gaki, now come here so you can sign the contract. Jiraiya said, satisfied that he at least impressed the blonde shinobi. Naruto made his way over to the toad, and Jiraiya was eager to sign the contract. The toad dropped a large scroll and unrolled it, while Jiraiya said that Naruto would have to sign his name in blood. Naruto nodded and took off one glove and made a small cut in his thumb. He then wrote his name on the scroll just next to where his dad had signed it as well. Naruto felt really good and proud of himself. He didn't want to become a complete copy of his dad, but he felt like he was following in his footsteps. After signing the contract, the scroll was sealed again and given back to the big toad. He looked at Jiraiya for further instructions. Jiraiya told him the necessary seals and waited curiously what kind of toad Naruto would be able to summon. Kuchiyus no Jutsu, Naruto yelled after doing the hand seals and slamming his hand on the ground. Just like Jiraiya, a cloud of smoke appeared, and both Naruto and Jiraiya tried to see through it. They were impatient to see who he had summoned. After a few seconds, the smoke disappeared and revealed a small toad the size of Akamaru. Yo, do you have a treat? The small toad asked Naruto while sticking out his paw. No, I don't. I'm sorry, I didn't know you wanted a treat. Naruto said, amused. This toad looked like a fun guy, maybe they could become friends. No problem, just asking. The name is Gamakichi, by the way. Are you the one who summoned me? Gamakichi said, introducing himself. Nice to meet you, Gamakichi. I'm Naruto, and yes, I'm the one who summoned you. Naruto said, starting to like the energetic little toad. While Naruto and Gamakichi were talking and introducing each other, Jiraiya stood by the side and observed both of them. He wouldn't tell Naruto, but he was secretly impressed since Naruto had succeeded in summoning on his first try. He had expected Naruto to summon a tadpole or something like that, but not a young toad like Gamakichi. Minato, Kushina, the two of you can be proud of your son. He's strong and has a good head on his shoulders. He thought, smiling. Well done, Naruto. Not bad for a first summon. Gamakichi, could you tell your dad about Naruto signing the contract? Tell him he's Yondame's legacy and he'll understand. Jiraiya said, addressing the toad. Gamakichi nodded and told Naruto goodbye and asked him to summon him once in a while to play. Naruto smiled and said that he would definitely do that. Gaki, I suppose that since you know about your parents, you'll also know about the Kyuubi. Jiraiya asked. Of course I know about Kyuubi. I have known it since the day I graduated from the academy. Naruto wondered why Jiraiya was interested in Kyuubi. Then you must know that the Kyuubi could provide you with a lot of chakra and strength. You should learn how to control and use that chakra. Jiraiya said. No, I refuse. There's no way I'll ever use that chakra. Naruto said. Gaki, it would make you stronger than everyone. It would be foolish not to profit from this. Jiraiya said, not really understanding why Naruto was against this. Kyuubi's chakra would make Naruto so much stronger. Iro Sennin, for as long as I can remember, the villagers have hated me because of the Kyuubi. One of my dreams is to be acknowledged as me and not as the Kyuubi child or demon child. If I start using the chakra, then there's no way they'll ever accept me. Besides, I don't need the Kyuubi's chakra to become strong. My dad didn't have the Kyuubi, and he became one of the strongest shinobi in the history of the leaf. If he can do it on his own, then so can I. I will prove to everyone that you don't need a Kekkei Genkai to be strong, just like my dad did before me," Naruto said with conviction to Jiraiya. "Huh, you're just like your dad. Did you know he told me the exact same words when I started training him?" "Very well, I won't tell you how to live your life, and I actually respect and understand your choice very well. But if you ever change your mind about it, let me know," Jiraiya said. "I won't change my mind. I never go back on my words, so you might as well forget that idea. And I made a promise to Anko-chan never to rely on anything but my own strength," Naruto answered. After talking a bit about things like jutsus, summoning, and shinobi stuff, Naruto thanked Jiraiya for allowing him to sign the Toad contract. Jiraiya said that it was no problem at all, and that if he needed help in his training, all he had to do was summon Gamakichi and give him a message. He explained that summons could be used to relay messages and the like. He also told him that he would be around for a while, so if he wanted they could meet once or twice during the next month. Naruto eagerly accepted the offered help and promised that if he needed something he would contact him. Feeling much better about himself, he went home, realizing that it was already late and that training would have to wait until tomorrow. He didn't find a way to fight and defeat Gaara, but still he was very content about how the day had played out. A friend in need is a friend indeed. 2 weeks had passed since Naruto had encountered Jiraiya and learned how to summon. Naruto was now on his way to meet up with the rest of Team 8 like they had promised. He was impatient to see them again and wondered how much stronger they had gotten. He had been training on speed and trying to find a way to deal with Gaara's sand. After a brainstorm session, he had come up with some kind of plan, but a lot would depend on luck. He would also have to find a way to alter one of his jutsus just for that, but this was one thing he was planning to do anyway. He just didn't expect having to do it in a month, and so far he had come up empty-handed. He also worked on improving his stamina because he would have to evade the sand for a long time, so that would be very tiring. Arriving at the training place, he saw that Kiba and Akamaru were already there, so he quickly made his way over. "Hey Naruto, how have you been?" Kiba asked while Naruto petted Akamaru on the head. "Hey Kiba, I'm fine. Training is going well, I guess. How about your training?" Naruto said, glad to see his friend again. "Akamaru and I have been training like crazy, but it's going as good as it can be, I think," Kiba said, reflecting on his training for the past 2 weeks. "Yeah, I'm sure you'll be stronger by the time of the finals. Still kind of sucks that you and Shino have to face each other in the first round already," Naruto said. "Don't worry about it, Naruto. Kiba and I will give it our all and no hard feelings afterwards. Right, Kiba?" Shino said from behind both Naruto and Kiba, startling both of them. "Shino, don't do that. You scared the hell out of me. When did you get here?" Kiba exclaimed, holding his hand over his heart. Naruto nodded, indicating that he too had been surprised by Shino's sudden arrival. A shinobi should never let their guard down. Shino simply said. "Have any of you seen Hinata? I wonder how her training is going," Naruto asked curiously about his teammate. "I haven't seen her, but Kurenai-sensei told me that she's doing great in her training. She also said that Hinata had made 2 new friends recently," Kiba said. "2 new friends? Wonder who that could be." Naruto was glad that Hinata had made some friends of her own. She was always too shy in his opinion. She had changed a lot in these past few months, and she had really opened up to the rest of Team 8, but around other people she still was a little shy. "Look over there, and you'll have the answer you're looking for," Kiba said, pointing towards the entrance of the training field. Naruto looked at where Kiba was pointing and saw Hinata talking and laughing with not only Ino, but also Sakura. From where he was standing, they were laughing and having a good time, and Naruto couldn't be happier for the 3 of them. The fact that the 3 of them seemed to get along pretty well would benefit all of them in his opinion. Sakura and Ino would become a little more serious about training, and they would pull Hinata with them on some of those female things only. "Hey you 3, you seem to have a good time," Naruto said. "How have you been, Naruto-kun? How's your training going? I bet you have become much stronger already," Hinata said. She knew that Naruto always performed best when he was pressured. "Training is going okay, I guess. Hopefully I'll be ready to face Gaara. How about you, Hinata? Will you be ready to fight Neji?" Naruto said, knowing that Hinata was slightly worried about fighting her cousin. I'm sure that you'll do fine, Naruto-kun. According to Kurenai-sensei, my speed has gone up a little, but it still needs a lot of work. No worries though, I'll show him that I can be strong as well. Hinata said confidently. We all know how strong you are, Hinata, just show him and your dad what you're made of. Kiba said that she would give Neji a run for his money. Sure thing, you can count on me. I brought Sakura and Ino with me so we can all spend some time together. You guys don't mind, do you? Hinata said. She had been spending some time with both girls and they had been getting along just fine. She hoped that they all could become friends. Of course we don't mind, Hinata. Sakura and Ino are welcome to join us. In fact, we should have invited everyone to begin with. Maybe we could meet again next week? Naruto said enthusiastically. He always wanted to have lots of friends ever since he started at the academy. They would be fellow shinobi, so it would be good if they all got along and trusted each other. And Naruto, I still need to apologize for everything I said and done to you in the past. Sakura said softly. Ino nodded as well. Stop it, both of you. The past is in the past, so leave it there. Naruto said, waving their apology. He learned a long time to forgive and forget about such things. There were much more important things in life than childish arguments and stuff like that. But still I need to. Sakura started. Look, if you really want to apologize, then become the best kunoichi that you can become. That will be your way of apologizing, okay? Naruto interrupted her. Both Sakura and Ino nodded, and after that they started to talk amongst each other about the past year and about their teammates. Sakura and Ino told them about the missions they had done, and teammate told about their mission to the wave and how they fought Zabuza and Haku. At the end of the story, both Sakura and Ino sat there with their jaw almost on the ground. Their missions were nothing like that, they realized. No wonder the four of them had grown up so much and gotten so strong. Wow, the most we did was fight some thugs and bandits. Even then, when we encountered some shinobi, they were low level, or our sensei took care of them. Sakura said, impressed. Well, Kurenai and Anko sensei didn't have much choice than to let us fight. Zabuza and Haku were very strong opponents after all. Kiba said, trying not to sound too arrogant. Sakura, can I ask you something? What happened in the forest after the shinobi fled? Naruto asked curiously. He had noticed some changes in Sakura's behavior at the end of the second task. He saw Sakura getting nervous and quickly told her that she didn't have to answer if she didn't want to, but she shook her head and told him that it was all right. After you and the rest left, the three of us needed some time to recover from our injuries, so we set up camp by the river. We decided to stay there for a while, gathering our strength back. Sakura started explaining. The rest of them could tell that she wasn't comfortable talking about it, so Hinata took a seat next to her and put her hand on Sakura's shoulder, showing her support. Sasuke, however, didn't want to rest. Instead, he wanted to fight, but none of us was in any condition to do so. It took all of my strength to stay standing at that point. Sakura remembered those moments with a little shame. If only she had been stronger, she thought. He began to yell at us for being losers and weaklings, saying that the only thing we did was hold him back from reaching his goal and kill him. He warned us that if he didn't pass the second task because of us, we would regret it. She started shaking a little. Naruto was listening to her story and was thinking how he would kick Sasuke's ass when he saw him. The rest of them thought about the same thing. I had never seen Sasuke like that before. It was like he was a whole other person. He really scared me, and I have been keeping my distance from him ever since. Sakura finished her story about what had happened in the forest. Sakura, don't listen to Sasuke. You're not a weakling, and you're definitely not a loser. Tell me, what do you know about Sasuke's past? Naruto asked her. He felt the need to explain to Sakura and the rest about what had happened with Sasuke when he was younger. Both Ino and Sakura needed to understand that Sasuke wasn't the little prince everyone thought he was. If they wanted to become strong, they would have to overcome their obsession with him. When they told him that they didn't really know much about Sasuke and his past, except that he was the only Uchiha left, he nodded and started to tell them about how Sasuke's brother Itachi had killed his whole clan except Sasuke several years ago. The fact that Itachi had told Sasuke to become strong so he could have his revenge messed with Sasuke's head and made him what he was today. Naruto carefully chose his words since he knew that both of them had a crush on Sasuke. He continued that the death of his family and how the village adored him for his bloodline had made Sasuke arrogant and hungry for power. Then there's the seal that Orochimaru gave him in the forest. That's not a normal seal, it's a seal that grants the user a huge power, but at a terrible cost. Naruto finished. What do you mean with a terrible cost? Ino asked softly. In the past few minutes she had learned more about Sasuke than before. She thought it was horrible for a young boy to lose his whole family at the hands of his own brother. The seal is addictive, and each time you use it, it will eat away at your soul and try to influence you to do things you don't want to do. Naruto finished sadly. Anko had told him about people like Sasuke. They were the kind of people who would sell their soul to the devil if it meant that they would become stronger. So if Sasuke doesn't use the seal's power, he will be back to the old Sasuke? Sakura asked hopefully. Sakura, think about it for a second. When he activated the seal in the forest, he felt the power from the seal, and for someone like Sasuke who is always looking for power, it's too good to ignore. Naruto said softly. He hated to ruin Sakura's hope, but she needed to know this, he realized. The sooner she understood what kind of person Sasuke was, the better. Naruto is right, Sakura, and you know it as well as we do. We can only hope that the suppression seal that Kakashi placed on him will hold. But that seal depends on Sasuke's willpower. Anko said, as she and Kurenai had arrived as well since they had a small break. They were very busy with preparations for the finals and securing the village as well. On top of that, they had to help Naruto and Hinata train, so their schedules were filled to the maximum. Anko-sensei, Kurenai-sensei, nice seeing you again. Ino said politely. She had heard a lot about both of them from her own sensei Asuma. He had told her that they were two of the strongest kunoichi in the village at this time. Anko and Kurenai greeted all of them and joined the discussion. Sakura and Ino listened to Anko's explanation and became somewhat sad that someone like Sasuke had to go through all this pain because of his brother. Anko then told them that while Itachi had a big influence on Sasuke, ultimately he was responsible for his own life and that he could have been a lot more friendly instead of becoming a solitary loner who was distant from everybody. We can't just give up on Sasuke just because of this seal. Sakura said with tears in her eyes. Who said anything about giving up on him? We take care of our own, and Sasuke is one of us no matter how much of an ass he is. Naruto said, trying to calm the girl down. The only thing we want to do is warn you about him so you can be prepared in case something happens. Kurenai added. Besides, can you actually say Sasuke is a good teammate or friend? He's a fellow shinobi, but he surely isn't a friend. Kiba said, trying to add his thoughts. Kiba is Sakura. Remember how you told me that Sasuke never helped you in all this time, nor has he ever acted as a friend. We're only trying to help you from getting hurt. Hinata said softly. We're not trying to say who you can or can't like, but we only want you to think about why you like that person and if he's worth the trouble and heartache. Naruto said, knowing that both girls thought the world of Sasuke. Ino and Sakura nodded, saying that they understood what everyone was trying to say and promised to do some thinking on the subject. Both girls had been shocked at how Sasuke had reacted in the forest and during the preliminaries. This would require a lot of soul searching, they realized, since both had been infatuated with the Uchiha for years. This would make getting rid of those feelings very hard for both of them. The 6 genin spent the whole afternoon talking and discussing things like training, the finals, and what they wanted in life. They told each other their dreams and hopes for the future. Suddenly Ino excused herself, saying that she needed to visit Chaoji, who was admitted at the hospital after eating too much. The rest of the genin laughed at how typical this seemed to be for Chaoji, whose world revolves around eating. When Ino mentioned the hospital, Naruto remembered how badly Lee had been injured and how he was sure to be staying at the hospital as well. He felt bad about not visiting Lee until now, since he had gotten to know the spandex-wearing shinobi quite well during the days before the preliminaries, so he too stood up and told everyone that he was going to pay both Chaoji and Lee a visit as well. That's an excellent idea, Naruto-kun. Why don't we all go together? Hinata said. She had been enjoying her afternoon very much, and visiting Lee and Chaoji would be a very nice ending to a wonderful day. She too felt bad about both of them, especially about Lee, who was gravely injured during his fight with Gaara. As she remembered the fight between Gaara and Lee, she couldn't help but feel worried about Naruto. She really hoped Naruto would be okay. Even if her feelings about Naruto had changed, she still liked him as a teammate and close friend. Everybody thought that it was a really good idea, and they made their way over to the hospital, happily chatting and laughing along the way. A lot of people raised an eyebrow when they passed or saw the group of genin talking and having a good time like they didn't have a care in the world. When they reached the hospital, they met up with Shikamaru, who had planned to visit Choji as well, seeing as he was his best friend ever since they were young. Since they were now such a large group, they decided to split up, and while the girls would first visit Choji, the guys would go see Lee, and then they would switch. After asking where Lee's room was, Kiba, Shino, Shikamaru, and Naruto quietly went in search of the room. They had been warned not to make too much noise and not to disturb Lee for too long, since he still needed lots of rest. After searching for about a minute, Shino motioned that he had found Lee's room and quietly opened the door. When they entered the room, they were greeted with a scene that none of them had ever expected. Next to a sleeping Lee stood Gaara with a murderous smile on his face. Lee's body was covered in sand, and it seemed like the sand was crushing him. The four genin immediately took action to save their comrade's life. Shikamaru used his shadow to trap Gaara so he couldn't move anymore, while Shino and Kiba jumped in front of Lee ready to protect him. Naruto just appeared in front of Gaara and punched him as hard as he could in the face. "What the hell are you doing?" Naruto said, trying to calm himself down so he wouldn't engage the sand shinobi here and there. Gaara stumbled back a little from the sheer force of the punch. Unfortunately, Shikamaru, who had Gaara trapped, stumbled as well since he was connected to Gaara. "I'm proving my existence," Gaara simply said, not even nervous about the fact that he was facing four genin. "What's that supposed to mean?" Kiba yelled loudly. He was really nervous about this guy since Naruto told him how he felt about him. If Naruto, who wasn't afraid of anything, was wary about this guy, then he would have to be very careful. He had also seen him defeat Lee, so he knew how strong Gaara was. "I prove my existence by killing," Gaara simply replied. He seemed completely unfazed by the thought of killing. "Why? It can't be about revenge since you won the fight. So what's your reason for wanting to kill Lee?" Shikamaru asked, trying to figure out what the hell was going on here. "Revenge? I don't care about revenge or anything like that. I just want to kill him, that's all," Gaara said. "That's all? Do you understand what you're talking about?" Naruto said, feeling more and more anger toward the Redeed. "If you think of stopping me from killing him, then I will not hesitate to kill you guys as well," Gaara remarked while staring and unleashing an amount of killer intent at the four of them. The four Konoha genin couldn't believe what they were hearing. Here was a guy who wanted to kill an injured comrade of theirs, and he would go so far as killing them if they hindered him. "What kind of monster are you?" Kiba said when he felt the killer intent hit him. This was even worse than when they faced Zabuza for the first time. "Monster? I guess you're right, I was born a monster when I took the life of the woman who was supposed to be my mother. Tsuna, I'm a mistake from their past that they want to get rid of. Ever since my 6th birthday, my father had sent assassin after assassin trying to get me killed," Gaara said while trying to move out of Shikamaru's shadow bind. "Why would your own father do such a thing?" Kiba asked, perplexed. He couldn't imagine how it must feel knowing that your own dad is trying to kill you. "I carry a monster inside me. They tried to make me their weapon, but once they saw I was outside of their control, they tried to get rid of me. It was as simple as that," Gaara shrugged. Naruto was shocked when he heard Gaara's words about carrying a monster inside him. Was this boy a Jinchuriki like he was? If so, then what kind of life must Gaara have had to make him so twisted and psychological imbalanced? Naruto couldn't believe that Gaara's own father made a Jinchuriki out of his own son just for power. His dad had at least done it because he had no other choice to save the village. What kind of father would do that willingly to his own son, he thought. Kiba and Shino had about the same reaction as Naruto and realized this was a very bad situation. If Gaara lost control, then the shit would hit the fan pretty quick. They wondered how Naruto would react to Gaara being a Jinchuriki like himself. Somehow it seemed foolish to think that Naruto was the only one with a demon sealed inside him, but none of them had ever thought about it. "You and I are a lot alike, more than you'll ever know. Like you, I'm hated and feared in this village, but not once in my life have they tried to get me killed. It was hard, wasn't it? The loneliness, the feeling that nobody wants you, the pain of being rejected in everything you try to do. I know that pain very well, I know it so well that it actually hurts while I'm saying this, but you're wrong, Gaara. Killing people like that only proves them right," Naruto said softly. Gaara's eyes went wide when he heard the pain in Naruto's voice, and when he looked him in the eyes he recognized the same pain he saw every morning in the mirror. If this boy was telling the truth, then he was carrying a demon inside him as well. How was it possible that Naruto seemed so normal, like his demon didn't have any influence whatsoever? He needed to know what the boy's secret was. How do you resist it? How do you ignore the stars and the hate? Gaara demanded from Naruto. It's simple, I resist thanks to my precious people. I fight to protect them from harm, and that makes me stronger. Naruto said, looking Gaara straight in the eyes. He wanted to show Gaara a way out of all the killing and hate. Prove it. When we fight, show me how strong you are, and we'll see who's right then. The one standing at the end is right. Gaara said before breaking free of Shikamaru's jutsu. He ordered his sand back into his gourd and disappeared, leaving Naruto and the rest alone with an injured Lee. The four of them just sat down on the floor trying to catch their breath after such an intense conversation. Shikamaru was looking at Naruto and he was starting to connect the dots by what he had heard. He knew that Naruto wasn't well liked by the villagers and by some shinobi, but he didn't realize that things were that bad. He always was curious why Naruto was treated that way, and now he seemed to have heard and seen something that might explain everything to him. Gaara carried a demon or monster inside him, and Naruto told him that they were much alike. So did that mean that Naruto too carried a demon? He thought back, and the only demon he could think of that actually tried to destroy Konoha was the Kyuubi, but that was impossible since Yondaime defeated the Kyuubi years ago. Then again, maybe it was covered up, and instead of killing the Kyuubi he sealed it away, and thus saved the village at the cost of his own life. That had to be it. Now that he thought about it, there's absolutely no way a mortal could defeat a demon, no matter how strong they are. But why keep it a secret? If Naruto did have the Kyuubi sealed inside him, then he would be saving Konoha every day of his life. Of course, people are idiots, and they would only see Kyuubi instead of Naruto. He thought. They would be afraid that the Kyuubi would get free, or they would remember their fallen family and friends and take it out on the child carrying the demon. Shikamaru sighed, this was way too troublesome to his liking. Guess you figured it out, huh, Shikamaru? Naruto said. So it's true? You carry the Kyuubi inside you. Why weren't we informed of this? Shikamaru said without any malice. He really didn't care about this. To him, Naruto was Naruto, nothing more, nothing less. Naruto nodded and started to tell Shikamaru about how he found out about the Kyuubi, his parents, and everything else. He felt like he could trust Shikamaru not to repeat his secret to anyone without his permission. He reminded Shikamaru also that everything he told him was an S-class secret, and if he told anyone he would be severely punished. After saying everything he wanted or needed to say, Naruto got up waiting for Shikamaru's reaction. This is so troublesome. Naruto, you can relax, your secret is safe with me. And I still see you as Uzumaki Naruto, my friend and fellow shinobi of the leaf. Shikamaru said while holding out his hand. Naruto looked surprised before he started smiling and shook Shikamaru's hand. He had found another friend that accepted him even when he knew about Kyuubi, and it made him really happy. Shino and Kiba were happy as well and thanked Shikamaru for being a good friend. A few moments later, the girls who had finished visiting Choji arrived, and when they saw the four of them slumped on the floor, they asked what had happened, and so the guys had to tell what Gaara had tried to do and how they stopped him. They didn't tell anything about him carrying a demon or about Naruto's secrets. The girls were shocked at what had happened and felt relieved that they had visited Choji first, otherwise they might not have been able to stop Gaara from killing Lee. Slowly the boys got up and said that they would pay Choji a quick visit before heading home. After they had finished visiting, they made a promise to meet once a week so they could hang out and have some fun. They didn't know it yet, but those meetings became the foundation of a friendship that became legendary throughout the lands. This would be the start of what later would be called the Konoha 11, who would become some of the biggest heroes Konoha had ever known. Each member would be recognized as some of the strongest shinobi of Konoha, and they would be role models to kids for years to come. Finally, the day of the finals arrived, much sooner and faster than most would have liked, and people all over Konoha were getting very nervous. Sarutobi, Sandaime Hokage, was standing on top of the Hokage monument and gazed over his village that was still in a peaceful slumber and sighed. He had been Hokage for many years. And the feeling in his gut told him that maybe this would be the last sunrise he would ever see, so he enjoyed it to the maximum. The preparations for an eventual attack had been taken, but he knew from experience that no matter how much you prepare, something always goes wrong or not the way you planned. They had prepared an evacuation plan for the civilians, and several Chunin were standing by waiting for the order to get into action. They would be responsible for their protection. Other Chunin and some low-level Jounin were dispersed all around town hiding and waiting for any sign of an attack, and, as soon as they got the signal that the innocents were safe, they would start the counterattack. Most of the Jounin and higher-level shinobi were positioned around the village and the stadium and were assigned to stop the invaders from advancing or retreating. They would hit hard and fast, just like in the old days. Sandaime closed his eyes and thought about the upcoming fight. He hated this part of being Hokage, the part where he had to order shinobi to fight in situations that might get them killed, but he realized that he had no choice. Just like himself, these brave shinobi would risk their life to protect their loved ones and their village. He expected no less from shinobi of the leaf. He then remembered a certain blonde-haired young genin who had been a grandson to him ever since the day he was born. He chuckled when he thought back to the days where Naruto would barge into his office asking if they could have ramen, or him shouting that he would take his job. He truly hoped to see the day that Naruto became Hokage. It would bring him much joy and happiness. Unfortunately, Naruto was a little too young to become Godame Hokage, but maybe he could aim for the post of Rakudame Hokage. Speaking of Godame Hokage, he had been trying to appoint a successor, but so far he hadn't found anyone that he could trust enough to become Hokage. He had briefly considered one of his old students, Jiraiya, but quickly dismissed that thought, knowing Jiraiya would never give up his Sannin status and settle down in the village. If he thought about it, there was only one he truly saw fit to become Godame, but she would be even more reluctant to take the position, even if he did get her back into the village. Suddenly a noise behind him made him stop thinking, and he turned around when he heard a very familiar voice. "Hey Jichin, what are you doing here?" Naruto was surprised to find anyone here at this hour. "I'm just enjoying the sunrise and the beauty of our village, Naruto." "But what are you doing here?" Sandaime said, smiling. "Oh, I'm just here to calm my nerves a little. This place always helped me calm down, you know," Naruto said. "Nervous for your fight? I'm sure you will do well, Naruto. You've become so strong over the past year," Sandaime said, not used to seeing a nervous Naruto. "Oh, I know I got stronger, but my opponent is not a normal opponent, Jichin. He's like me," Naruto said softly. "Like you? Oh god, you don't mean he is a Jinchuriki as well?" Sandaime said, shocked. Naruto nodded and then proceeded to tell what had happened at the hospital with Gaara and the conversation they had. Sandaime was shocked that the Kazekage would do such a horrible thing to his own son just for the sake of power. Where was the honor in condemning your own such to such a fate just for power? He would never understand that kind of logic. At least Minato had no other choice, and his reasons were honorable, no matter how devastating the results. "So you see, I want to show him that a shinobi only is truly strong when he's protecting those he loves. I just hope I'm strong enough to do it," Naruto said. "Naruto, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that you will be able to show him what a true shinobi is like. I have the utmost confidence in you, so just give it your all, okay?" Sandaime said and smiled when Naruto nodded. "Well, guess I'll see you at the stadium, Jichin. I have to wake Anko-chan, otherwise she will sleep through the matches," Naruto jokes and runs off home. "You really are your father's son, Naruto, more than you'll ever know. I'm truly proud of you. Just show them who Uzumaki Naruto is and what he can do," Sandaime thought before he too left to get ready. He had some unfinished business that he had to take care of today. Several hours later, the stadium was packed with spectators that came to see the fights between the most promising genin that the villages had to offer. Between the crowd were several Anbu disguised as civilians. They would be the first line of defense if the stadium got attacked. Also, of the Konoha genin who hadn't made it to the finals were gathered together and were anxiously waiting for their friends to start their matches. Sakura and Ino had gone early enough so that they could save seats for Tenten, and Choji they would have saved a seat for Lee, but he was still at the hospital. The seats were right in front of the battlefield, so they would have an excellent view of the fight. Over the past month, the genin had become a group of close friends except Niji, who seemed hostile towards Hinata, but she refused to explain why, saying that this was one thing that was between both of them. Still, she hoped that Niji would change after this match when she proved to him that she too was strong and a capable kunoichi. Naruto looked around and marveled at the stadium and all the people that had come to watch them fight. He could feel the adrenaline pumping, and he was getting excited about fighting and showing them just what he was capable of. This was why he and Anko had worked so hard over the past year. Sure, becoming Chunin was a small step compared to becoming Hokage, but it was an important step nonetheless. His nervousness that he felt that morning seemed to have disappeared when he entered the stadium, and he looked over at Anko, who was standing with Kurenai and the other Jounin senseis. She had been very agitated about his fight with Gaara, and although she had utmost confidence in him, she still was a little scared of him being hurt or worse, killed by the Suna shinobi. Naruto had assured her that he would be fine and that she should be ready to cheer him on. Finally, all the genin, except Sasuke, who seemed to be late, had assembled at the center of the battleground so they could receive some last instructions. There had been a change since Dosu, the Sound Nin, had been killed during the month previous to the finals, so there would only be 5 matches. After that they were to face the Hokage and Kazekage, who were sitting in a balcony just in front of them. The Hokage nodded and stood up, preparing to say a few words to the crowd and the genin. "People of Konoha and esteemed guests, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the finals of the Chunin exams," he said while looking around in the crowd. "Today, we will witness just how strong our respective shinobi are, and from their fights we will determine who of them is worthy of being promoted to the rank of Chunin. I hope each and every one of you has an enjoyable day." He finished that part of his speech. He then turned toward the genin who would be fighting. "A few words for our young contestants. You have made your village proud by advancing this far. Nobody can take that away from you, no matter if you win or lose today. Remember the following: a shinobi's strength isn't how many jutsus he knows, but how he uses them, and the reason why you fight. I wish you the best of luck in your matches," the Hokage said, before sitting back down before the crowd erupted in applause and encouragement. Naruto and the other genin were instructed to leave the battleground, while both Hinata and Neji had to stay for the first match. Naruto, Kiba, and Shino wished their friend good luck and went upstairs as well. They had confidence that Hinata would do well, even if she lost the match. They all knew she had grown into a strong and capable kunoichi. Hinata and Neji made their way over to the middle of the field and stood in front of each other. Before the proctor could start the match, however, Neji started to say something. "Hinata-sama, I would advise you to give up this fight. You're too weak to win this fight," he said arrogantly while sneering at Hinata. "I will not give up this fight, Neji-san. Besides, how do you know I can't win?" she said, looking him straight in the eyes. She wouldn't back down from this fight or let him intimidate her any further. "Fate decided that I would be the winner from the moment our match was drawn. You cannot change fate or destiny," he said, still sneering at her. "Fate? Destiny? And how do you know what fate or destiny has decided?" Hinata said, already used to hearing Neji's logic. She had spent some time with Tenten after all. "You're weak, Hinata-sama, you always were weak, and you can't change that. I will show you the difference between us and display the foolishness of going against fate itself," Neji said before activating his Byakugan. Hinata responded by taking a stance for the original Gyuken style, and she too activated her Byakugan. The proctor then started the match, and the two genin just jumped forward and started exchanging blows to each other. Neji started by aiming at her stomach with a textbook move, but Hinata quickly countered and retaliated by aiming a punch to his shoulder. Both of them kept trying to hit their opponent, but so far neither of them had landed a hit. Hinata kept advancing, trying to get the upper hand, and for a moment it seemed she was succeeding, but then she felt Neji hit a few tenketsu in her right arm, making her jump backwards to do some damage control. Luckily he had only sealed 2 of them, and she relaxed for a second, trying to catch her breath. Like she had expected, Neji was vastly superior to her in the Gyuken style, but unlike before, she was able to see his attacks and counter them. Neji was seething inside. He had expected that Hinata would be a pushover, but so far she had done remarkably well. This wasn't the Hinata he remembered. That Hinata was a coward, a weakling who was afraid to get hurt and to hurt others as well. The Hinata standing in front of him, however, was confident and had the skill to back it up. Nonetheless, he wouldn't lose to her. He was a genius of the Hyuga clan, even if he came from the branch family. He would observe for now and attack when the time was right. In the crowd, Hyuga Hiashi, clan head and leader of the Hyuga, was watching the fight between his daughter and his nephew. He too had anticipated an easy match for Neji, even though he had noticed that Hinata had been making excellent progress with the Gyuken when they were spared. He was surprised to see his daughter fight in such a straightforward way. He knew she hated to inflict pain on others, especially friends or family. Next to him sat his youngest daughter Hanabi, who was watching with big eyes at how her sister was holding her own against Neji. When she had to spar against him, she didn't last very long, and now her older sister was doing better than her, even when she had been labeled weak and unfit to be a kunoichi. Go, Hinata. Kick his ass and show them what you got, Naruto, Kiba, and Shino exclaimed, showing their support. Hinata smiled and rushed forward to launch the next series of attacks upon Neji, who was waiting for her. She started out with some standard Jaiken moves which Neji blocked without a problem, but all of a sudden Hinata grabbed his arm and pulled him closer, making her knee connect with his outer thigh of his left leg. The hit had come unsuspected, and it would restrict Neji's movements for just a moment. While Neji was cursing, Hinata advanced once again and hit 2 pressure points in his right arm. Neji then jumped back and quickly rubbed his leg, making the pain go away. It seems your aim is a little off, Hinata-sama. You didn't hit any Tenketsu at all, Neji said. He was going to continue his rant, but then his right arm started to hurt pretty badly, making him wince. Who said I was aiming at your Tenketsu? Hinata just answered. The pressure points she had hit would give Neji a fierce pain for a few minutes, but other than that there wouldn't be any effects. Neji frowned before trying to move his right arm, only to find that it hurt like hell and that he couldn't move his arm at all. He wondered what Hinata had done, but figured that the pain would soon be over. He would need to take some distance until the pain went away. Hinata, however, wouldn't stand around doing nothing and charged him head on. She delivered blow after blow, and Neji was finding himself hard-pressed to defend himself with only one arm. He ducked under a Jaiken punch by crouching low, but what happened next shocked him to the core. Hinata had moved closer and just planted her knee right into his face, knocking him back before she followed up with a hard punch in the gut and hitting a few Tenketsu and pressure points as well. Unfortunately for Hinata, who was planning to hit him in the face, Neji regained control of his arm and blocked her punch before jumping back. That wasn't a Jaiken attack. Are you that weak that you need to resort to another Taijutsu style to defeat me? Neji sneered at her while he tried to clear his head from the blow he received. What? Is there some rule that Hyuga can only fight by using the Jaiken? I'm a kunoichi of the leaf, and, as a shinobi, I use everything that might win me the match. Hinata answered calmly. Use whatever you want, but you won't win against me. I said it already, you were destined to lose this match. Neji said arrogantly. Hinata just ignored his words and slowly started advancing towards her cousin. She had closed a few Tenketsu and hit several pressure points in his right leg, but unlike before, these would hinder him for at least half an hour. They would slow him down a little, making the match a little more even for her. Even with all the training she had done in the past month, Neji was still faster than her, and the fact that he was better at Jaiken put her in a difficult situation. She was only slowly getting comfortable with her own style of Taijutsu, and it was still far from perfect, even if she had proven that it worked very well. She would have to catch him off guard if she wanted to have a chance to defeat him. Neji saw his cousin slowly coming towards him and prepared by taking a stance, but he cursed when he felt a sharp pain in his right leg. The pain was very similar to the pain he felt in his arm, and he assumed that it would go away in a few minutes. Still, the pain would slow him down, so he would have to be careful. He wouldn't take any more chances in this match. Hinata had now approached him enough that he could attack her, but he opted to wait and let her attack, waiting for the pain to disappear. Suddenly Hinata shot forward and threw a punch at his face, which he blocked with his right arm before throwing a punch at her midsection. Hinata saw the punch coming and just twisted on her feet, elegantly evading the punch. She did a small spin and aimed to hit Neji from the side. Neji, however, just smirked and unleashed his next attack. He just started turning like a toll and yelled out Kaiten, making a large blue dome-like structure appear around him. Hinata, who was too close to evade it, crashed right into it and was flown across the field. The crowd was shocked into silence at seeing these two genin fight so seriously, and almost all of them held their breath to see how the fight would end. One person, however, was even more shocked than all the rest. Hyuga Hiashi couldn't believe what he just saw. A branch member had learned one of the secret techniques of the Jaiken that normally only were taught to members of the main family. This meant that Neji had learned it on his own, which baffled him. He was more than a little shocked at how Hinata was doing in this fight. She had shown him that she was way more talented than he had thought she was. Maybe he would have to review his opinion about his oldest daughter, he thought. Naruto and the rest were worried about their friend. None of them had known that kind of technique existed and that Neji was able to use it. From what they had seen, Hinata had collided with the chakra dome, sending her across the field. They hoped that she would be okay and uninjured enough to continue the fight. They had been glad to see how well Hinata had been doing in her match. All of them knew how scared and nervous she had been, but it seemed that Hinata had made up her mind and was fighting to win. They couldn't be more proud of her even if she lost the fight. Hinata opened her eyes and slowly and painfully got up to her feet. She had taken a heavy blow and knew that she could afford to take another hit like that again. Never had she expected that her cousin knew the katen since branch members weren't taught how to do it. She coughed up some blood and wiped her mouth while slowly trying to regain her strength before Neji attacked her again. She didn't need to worry since he was waiting for her with an arrogant smile on his face. When she felt good enough to continue, she stood up straight and motioned to him that she was ready. "I will finish this match now, Hinata-sama. You're within my field of divination," Neji said while taking a stance. Hinata recognized the stance and she got ready to defend herself. Haki Rakujin SHM. Neji just started attacking, aiming to hit Hinata's Tenketsu, which would prevent her from using chakra for some time. Hinata, however, wouldn't just stand there and be hit. She had developed her own technique which would help her block all of Neji's hits. Shugahaki Rakujin SHM. She started moving her arms in front of her at high speed, making a blue chakra shield appear in front of her, blocking every one of Neji's attacks. When Neji finished his attack, he couldn't believe what had happened. Hinata had somehow succeeded in blocking every one of his attacks with a technique he had never seen or heard about. He stood shocked, not even noticing that Hinata was advancing towards him ready to attack. Hinata, who had seen that Neji was temporarily distracted, moved on instinct and started attacking him. She closed as much Tenketsu as she could and hit several very painful pressure points on the joints of his arms and legs. She was breathing very heavily after her attack, and she had used most of her remaining chakra while doing the Shugahaki Rakujin SHM, so she knew that this was the end of the match for her. Neji, who saw his final attack being blocked, barely registered Hinata's onslaught on his body until he became aware of the sharp pains in his body. He dropped to his knees before falling face down in the dirt. When he tried to get back up, he screamed slightly in pain caused by Hinata's attack. "How? What was that technique?" he managed to say. It was my own original technique that I made with the help of my team. For years I saw myself as weak and pitiful, but my team helped me get stronger. They helped me create my own style of taijutsu since I find the Jaiken unnatural to me. So I started on creating my own style, a style suited for me, and even though it's far from finished, you have seen and felt the results," Hinata said while dropping down to one knee. "You created your own style? Impossible, someone like you couldn't do such a thing," Neji said, not believing a word he heard. "Believe whatever you want, Neji Nison. I know now that I'm not weak like you, or my dad used to tell me. I trained hard and long just to show you that I too can be strong," Hinata said while breathing heavily. She was starting to lose consciousness from chakra exhaustion. "Destiny decided that I would win, yet this happened." "Why?" Neji mumbled. "Destiny and fate do not concern themselves with a fight like ours. My team taught me that destiny and fate is what you make of it. They showed me that if you work hard for something, you can defy them and make your own destiny," Hinata said, falling down on her back before losing consciousness with a small smile on her face. She had shown them that she too was strong, and in the end that's all she wanted. She didn't care about winning or losing the match. The proctor who had allowed them to finish their conversation went over to check on both of them. He took a good look at Neji and saw that he was unable to continue the match. He had a good idea what the girl had done with her last attack, so he was sure that Neji was in no condition to fight. He then made his way over to Hinata and couldn't help but smile at the young girl who had fought so bravely against someone who was considered a genius and had managed to fight him to a standstill. Seeing that she had lost consciousness, he stood up and lifted his hands. "Both fighters are unable to continue the fight. I hereby declare this a draw," he yelled out to the spectators. The people in the stadium went crazy, shouting and yelling their support and admiration for both Neji and Hinata. The match had been more than satisfying in their eyes, and they showed it. In the stands, Hyuga Hiashi slowly got up and told his youngest daughter that they were going to see both Neji and Hinata in the sickbay. Hanabi nodded. She was impressed with the skills and techniques her sister had shown during the fight. She was sure now that Hinata was far from the weakling that she thought she was. Hiashi too thought the same thing, and he would have to congratulate his daughter for fighting so well. They walked in silence, each thinking of how to address Hinata when she woke up. Naruto and company were cheering the loudest of all. Hinata had done it. She had shown just how strong she truly was, and everybody had seen it. Kurenai and Anko were very proud of their young protege and vowed to let her know just that. The rest of the Konoha genin were shocked to see Hinata fighting this fiercely. Sakura and Ino knew that they would have to train very hard if they wanted to become as strong as Hinata was. After a few minutes the crowd had calmed down and were waiting eagerly for the next match to start. The proctor named Gemma went to the middle of the field and waited for a sign from the Hokage saying that it was okay to start the second match. Sandame nodded and Genma called them down to the field. We will now start the second match. Will Uchiha Sasuke and Sabaku no Kankuro please come down? He yelled. Hearing the name Uchiha, most of the spectators began to cheer since the Uchiha name was famous in all the shinobi lands as one of the strongest clans. They were sure that the last Uchiha would provide them with a very good show. Naruto just frowned at the attention Sasuke received just because of his name. Most of the spectators didn't know anything about Sasuke or had ever seen him fight, and yet they considered him the best there was. Kankuro made his way down expecting the Uchiha to follow him, but strangely he arrived alone in front of the proctor. The crowd was getting restless when they saw that Sasuke wasn't there. Genma frowned and decided to call again. But before he could do so, Chunin appeared in front of him saying that Sasuke hadn't arrived yet and that the match would be postponed until later. Genma raised his eyebrows at that since normally said genin would have been disqualified, but he guessed that because it was an Uchiha who was late. God knows how much privileges that gave him, frankly it disgusted him, but there was nothing he could do about that. Ladies and gentlemen, Uchiha Sasuke has yet to arrive, so we'll go straight to the third match. The second match will be fought afterwards. Will Sabaku no Gaara and Uzumaki Naruto please come down? Gemma said. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. If you want the next part of this story, let me know in the comment box. See you next time, till then sayonara.